Hello, and welcome back to Cape Corner, where we explore the history, story, and cultural impact of a different character or group every episode. I'm Blue.
And I'm Jay.
And today, because I've been buying the Legacy collections and playing the games, and I recently watched an 8-hour video about the lore, I really want to talk about Mega Man. Just like in general. I don't actually know how much or little, like how many different characters I'll be able to talk about in a single episode. So I will title the video based on who I actually speak about in this episode. We'll have to find out.
All right.
So as always, I want to gauge how much or little you know. What do you know about Mega Man?
I knew that he is a Sega property, right?
Capcom.
Remember. Capcom. Oh, yeah, that's true. My bad.
Thinking of Sonic.
Little blue man who's like a cyborg and shoots some sort of blast out of one of his arms, and that's about it. And that it's a side platformer.
Yeah, the classic games are.
Yeah.
Okay, well, first of all, do you know that there's more than one Mega Man?
I did not.
Okay, this will be fun. So there is an entire timeline, and in fact, there are two timelines. I think that the divergence of those two timelines is very funny. So everything begins with a man named Dr. Thomas Light. So Dr. Light was a genius inventor and scientist, and he had a sort of rivalry with another doctor named Dr. Albert Wiley. And really the divergence of these timelines starts very early on and based on one key question. Does Dr. Light get laid?
Well, does he?
Well, in one he does, and in the other he doesn't. That's why it splits. Because in one timeline, he does not have children. And as a result, he wants to get into the field of robotics. And he winds up creating sort of surrogate children for himself through his robots. And in another timeline, he actually does have children and maybe moves to Japan and changes his name from Dr. Light to Dr. Hikari, which is the Japanese word for light. But regardless of why he's called Dr. Hikari in that timeline, whether it's him changing his name or whatever, in that timeline, he has a son and does not feel the need to get into robotics. So instead, he gets into computer programming. And I'll talk more about that timeline, which is my favorite one, actually, in a little bit. But that's more modern games. So we're going to start by talking about the original timeline. So in the original timeline, he's doing robots. You thinking that Mega Man was some kind of cyborg is probably because of the Americanization of Mega Man. To really get across just how differently America treated Mega Man, I'm going to show you the box art for Mega Man 1. In Japan versus in America. So, and folks at home, you can Google along, look up Mega Man 1 Japanese box art. So this is the Japanese box art.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, very cute. And then here's the American box art for the same exact game.
Oh, geez, that's very different.
Yeah, there's also a European box art for Mega Man 2, which has a very similar vibe to it, which I'll show you in addition. Copy image and paste. So the the there's actually a joke in I want to say it was a recent Street Fighter game, or it was some kind of fighting game, I remember, um, from a few years back, where uh, American Mega Man was treated as his own character, and he's a character in that fighting game, and he's like an older, like middle-aged fat guy with a gun now that wears the blue and yellow outfit.
Mm.
Um, it's very funny, and what's really neat is that for Mega Man 9, which was the first Mega Man classic game in like 20 years or something like that, um, in Japan, they actually did this box art. So they were paying homage to the old American box art.
I'm not gonna lie, that gives me like Keyman vibes.
He-Man?
Yeah,
Or did you say He-Man?
Keyman.
Okay, I thought you said Key, like Key.
Oh no.
Gotcha. But yes, so the American box art likes to depict him as holding a gun, but actually his hand turns into a blaster. And you were asking about the Mega Buster, the weapon that he has. So I am fairly certain that the explanation of his shots is that he is shooting converted solar energy, so essentially small plasma shots.
Oh, okay.
Um, which is neat. A lot of people refer to them as lemons because in the old game, it is just a yellow oval that shoots out, so it looks like he's shooting lemons. But the Mega Buster itself winds up going through a lot of development over the course of the series. He starts off only being able to manually like fire out one at a time. Like he can do like, I don't know, 2 or 3 a second, right? He can shoot out pretty fast, but later on he gets the power to charge his shots. So if you hold down the fire button for a few seconds, it can charge to various levels of strength. I think the original Mega Man could go up to third level charge shot. So you got your normal shot, you got a slightly charged version, and you got a much bigger like purple pellet that comes out the size of his body, like a big purple energy ball. He also gets the ability to rapid fire sometimes, much faster than that 2 or 3 a second I was talking about.
Yeah.
And he also winds up getting augmented with other gear. In Mega Man 2, he first gets the items 1, 2, and 3. Item 1 is essentially a floating platform that's held up by a little helicopter propeller on the underside of it, which he can use to, traverse vertical obstacles more easily. Item 2 is a little jet surfboard. So where you deploy it, it stays at that level in the air and you get on top of it, and then it just moves across the screen in a straight line. And then item 3 is a weird little crawler. You throw it at a wall and then it'll crawl up or down the wall for you. And later on, he winds up replacing those with his good boy companion Rush. I think first I will, just for the baseline, I'll show you the official artwork of Mega Man. So here he is, super fighting robot, Mega Man, the blue bomber. He's a very good boy. And I think at this point I'll talk a little bit about his development. So again, Dr. Light wanted kids, and so he started making robots. And the first robot he made was Proto Man. And I'll show you what Proto Man looks like. here he is. So Proto Man had some kind of defect in his power core where it's basically like he's got a heart condition. If he gets hit too hard in the area that houses his power core, he'll just fucking die. So he was deemed as not a viable prototype by Dr. Light. I think he shelved him, and Dr. Wily wound up kidnapping him. And eventually, Proto Man broke free of him, went off on his own little journey. He wound up getting this shield to help protect him because, you know, again, if he gets hit, you know, he could die. So he's got that shield now. And he's very cool. I like Proto Man. And after Proto Man, Dr. Light made two robots. So they all have serial numbers, DLN for Dr. Light number. So Proto Man is 000. And the first one, proper one that he made was DLN 001, named Rock. Rock was he was made to be a lab assistance robot. And he also made DLN 002, which is Roll, Rock's sister. And right away, I got to talk real quick about the changes in names. So they are Rock and Roll. A lot of the main robots in the series had names based on music, which is also why when Rock winds up getting upgraded with, you know, fighting capabilities, in Japan he's known as Rock Man. But I think that for America, because there were a bunch of elemental enemies that you fight, you know, Iceman and Fireman and whatnot, they were worried that dumbass American kids would think that Rockman had like stone-based elemental abilities. So they changed his name to Mega Man. And they decided to keep with that theme. They would also change some of their other names. So Proto Man had an altered name. What do you think would be the name of someone who came before Rock and Roll?
Feel like it would have to do something with jazz. I don't know why.
You're very close. He's blues.
No shit.
Yeah. It's really cool. I like that. And then later on they would wind up I'm not gonna like show you every single character. You can look these characters up later if you want, but it'll just take too much time. There's too many people to talk about. But a very bizarre change that they made is with the character of Bass. So as I said, Mega Man winds up getting a little robot dog companion named Rush. And Dr. Wily winds up trying to create his own robot to compete against Mega Man. And he makes this guy Bass, and he gives him a purple wolf companion named Treble. So they're Bass and Treble. And you would think that that's their Japanese names, but it's not. Their Japanese names are Forte and Gospel. So for whatever reason, they changed the music-themed names to different music-themed names.
That's so odd.
It is a very bizarre choice that I don't understand. But the basic story of how everything starts with Mega Man 1 is that Dr. Light had 6 other robot masters, or 8 other, if you are going by the remake of the game for the PSP, Mega Man Powered Up, and the Archie comics, because those include Time Man and Oil Man, but I don't think anybody really gives too much of a shit about those guys. So as far as the canon that we're concerned about, they are Cut Man, a robot designed to help lumberjacks by cutting down trees very easily. Guts Man, who is a really big and strong robot that is meant for heavy lifting at construction sites. Iceman is meant to work in sub-zero Arctic environments that humans cannot feasibly work in. Bomb Man works with Gutsman at construction sites. He's the demolitions expert.
Mm.
Fireman works at a waste processing plant. He burns trash. And Elecman has the power of electricity, and he is meant to oversee nuclear power reactors and shut them down in case they begin to go critical. He's very
Oh, really?
important. But Wily says, fuck all that shit, helping humanity back. Nah, don't want that. So he kidnaps and reprograms those 6 robot masters and decides that he's going to try taking over the world with them. And it's at that point that Dr. Light has to upgrade Rock, giving him fighting capabilities. And the greatest weapon that he gives to Rock is not the Mega Buster, it's the copy system. Every time Mega Man manages to defeat one of these robot masters, he can copy their abilities, and his Mega Buster transforms to generate whatever kind of projectile that they were capable of. So with Cutman, he gets the rolling cutter, which is essentially it's like a little Pac-Man head. It's a pair of choppy scissors that flies through the air in a circle and returns to him. Gutsman, he gets the super arm. He essentially gets super strength to pick up large stone blocks and throw them. Iceman, he gets the ice slasher. Bomb Man, he gets the hyper bomb. Fireman, he gets the I think it's the fire shot or something. And Elecman, he gets the rolling thunder, I think it's called. And they've got a rock paper scissors kind of weakness system. Cutman is weak to Gutsman. Fireman is weak to Iceman. Bomb Man is weak to Fireman, etc., etc. So, depending on who you first fight in the game, you sort of lay out a preferred path for yourself. You can fight these guys in any order, but it's best to tackle them with whatever weakness you have available. And it's definitely needed for the first game. The first Mega Man game is a fucking bitch to play. I actually just beat it for my first time yesterday. And I did not do it legitimately. First of all, the Legacy Collection adds save states and a rewind button. So I definitely abused the hell out of both of those to beat the game. But also, even in the old NES version of the game, there's an exploit against a particular boss called the Yellow Devil. The Yellow Devil is a sort of shape memory golem where what it does is it's really big, right? It's much bigger than Mega Man. It breaks itself up into pixel blocks, which turn into little yellow balls, which fly across the screen one at a time. And you have to try and duck and weave and dodge your way through this torrent of little balls that fly across the screen as he rebuilds himself on the other side of the screen. And once he has rebuilt himself, he opens his eye. He shoots a single energy pellet from his eye at you, and then he does it over again. He disassembles and reassembles on the other side of the screen. And you can only hit him in his eye, and you have to hit him I think 7 times or something. And it's extremely difficult to beat him legitimately. So what you can do is for the NES version of Mega Man 1 and subsequent re-releases, there is a pause button. And what you do is you equip the Rolling Thunder that you get from Elecman, you fire it at him, and it's a long line of an attack, right? And normally what happens is when the tip of it makes impact on his eye, he enters that enemy has been hit in vulnerability state for a few seconds. But if you pause right as it hits and then you unpause, the game registers him as not invulnerable. So as it continues going through him, it hits him again. So the idea is to fire a single shot, pause and unpause until it registers 7 hits, and then he dies in a single shot.
Hmm.
And I did do that because fuck that fight. But after you beat the 6 robot masters, you begin assaulting Wily's fortress. You fight the Yellow Devil. You fight some big machine in a bubble. You fight a fucking copy robot. So he copies Mega Man. And whenever you switch weapons, the copy also switches to that same weapon. And the problem is he deals like 2 to 4 times more damage than you do. So he's really fucking hard to fight. I use the rewind button so goddamn much. Every time I get hit, I was just like, nope, and rewind it a few seconds and then move differently. But after that, you finally get to Wily. And Wily was earlier seen flying around in a little flying saucer, which now mounts to the top of a big robot that shoots at you, and you beat it, and he like falls on the ground, and he is like bowing repeatedly. He's like, I'm so sorry, I'm just an old man, please. And Mega Man's like, all right, but you better not ever do it again. So of course Wily becomes the impetus for every bad thing that happens for the next like 1,000 years. So that's like the original story. And I'm not going to spend that much time on every game going forward because we will be here forever. But
All right.
it's a very classic story. It sort of set the basis for what you could expect from the franchise. All right. For the other Mega Man games, you got things like Mega Man 2, where this time Wily made his own robots. At the end of the game, you beat his Wily machine and you think you're done again, but then suddenly an alien shows up. What? And none of your weapons work on it except for Bubble Man's lead bubble. And then you wind up finding out it was a hologram. And Wily was just fucking with you. He was doing the Wizard of Oz man behind the curtain thing. So again, he begs and pleads, like, I'm so sorry, I'll never do it again. Let's see. Mega Man 3. There's not really a lot for me to say about that. Mega Man 4 introduces a new doctor named Dr. Cossack, who is being manipulated by Wily, who has kidnapped his daughter, Kalinka. So you have to fight Dr. Cossack's robots in that. I should also say Mega Man 3, though, is the first time where you see Proto Man. And he shows up wearing a mask. I should say that what normally happens when you fight a boss in these games, you enter a room and you see the robot master there. You hear the dun 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 dun, 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 like boss music start playing, and you see their HP bar fill up. But at one point in Mega Man 3, you're going through, you're not even at the end of a level where the boss rooms are. You're in the middle of a level, but you drop into a big empty room, which is structured just like the boss rooms, and you just hear dun, 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 like on a flute or something. And then out of nowhere, this red guy with a mask and a shield and a yellow scarf shows up and starts fighting you. And you have no clue what's going on. And it's at the end of that game we would find out that that being that was being known as Breakman was actually Proto Man, the older brother of Mega Man. And it's very neat. And from then on, he would never like legitimately be on your team. Like he was never part of the group's effort. He was always a lone wolf, but he was an ally. And he would sometimes contact Mega Man and be like, look, this shit's going down. Need your help on this. It's pretty cool. Proto Man's a cool guy. There's actually a band called the Proto Men. And all of their songs are based on the Mega Man franchise. And I do highly recommend that you and everyone listening check out a song called Melody from the Past, because it uses that flute tune that always accompanies Proto Man as the main musical cue, and it's all about how um, like the emotions that Proto Man feels, like the sadness and regret and the jealousy that he was the flawed design and Mega Man was the hero. Like he doesn't hate Mega Man, but you know, it's very melancholic and it's beautiful. I love that song.
Mm.
Um, all right. I I think I would like to take a moment to just I want to see if you can gauge these Robot Master names. So
Okay.
I'm going to give you a bunch of names. I'm going to give you like let's say like 5 or 6 names, and I want you to tell me which ones of these are real and which of them I made up. Okay.
All right.
Okay. Um, Top Man. Uh, I'm going to give you the whole list, and I want you to just keep in mind the ones that you think are fake and tell me at the end. So, Top Man, Pharaoh Man, Napalm Man, uh, Tomahawk Man, and Hard Man.
I'm gonna go with Top Man, Hard Man, and Tomahawk Man being fake.
They're all real.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah. Um, Top Man is a spinning top, and uh, for some reason, his programming is to explore other planets. Why the fuck is he a spinning top?
That's so odd.
Hardman is just a really like big armored guy who they say his purpose is ground leveling. So I think he's supposed to act like essentially a steamroller. Like he just
Mhm.
jumps up and flattens the earth. Um, Tomahawk Man is part of a. He was from a game where there was like a big multicultural tournament, so he was supposed to be like Native Americans. Um, who the fuck else did I even say? Napalm Man, perhaps one of the worst named robot masters, but yes, his power is to fire bombs. Um, oh, Pharaoh Man. Pharaoh Man, I think, was supposed to be a tour guide for like an ancient Egyptian exhibit. Like a bunch of them are weird tour guides. Like there's one named Swordman who he was literally just a robot tour guide for a museum's ancient sword display. And Wiley just like took the sword and gave it to him. It was like, instead of showing it off, why don't you use it? And he was just like, well, okay. I mean, like, again, they're robots, so they're reprogrammed, but it's also just very silly.
Yeah.
So there are 11 classic Mega Man games, with 9 through 11 being done in much more recent years. Um, the first 6 were done on the NES. Then they started making Mega Man X, which I'll explain in a minute. Um, and then they made 7 and 8, I want to say, on the Super Nintendo. But there were also other games. Um, you know about Mega Man 2, but what about Mega Man 2? As in Roman numeral 2, because spoiler alert, there was a bunch of side games for like the Game Boy that you would think that they would be ports of the console game. They're not. They're completely different games. There is Mega Man number 2 and Mega Man Roman numeral 2, and they're two completely different games. Both canon, but
That's
he fights completely different enemies in those games. They each have their own story. They take place in between the like console entries. It gets very confusing.
It sounds confusing, honestly.
Yeah. So the Mega Man wound up becoming a big world hero, and he fought like over 100 different robot masters over the years, and it's very impressive. Um, but he was not really Dr. Light's magnum opus. You see, as the years went on, Dr. Light wanted to create true artificial intelligence. He worked for many sleepless nights for many years on a new version of Mega Man, which he would call Mega Man X. And um, in his like final days, he finished Mega Man X, but did not activate him right away. He kept him in a stasis pod while a diagnostic program ran for like 30 to 40 years. And this diagnostic program was to ensure that there was no shit in his like sentient AI that would lean towards him becoming evil.
Mhm.
All right, they wanted a truly sentient robot with freedom of choice, but that was a good person. And it wound up working, but the technology was very amazing to people in those 30 to 40 years in the future when X woke up, and they decided that they wanted sentient robots, and they did not do 30 to 40 years of diagnostic testing. And that's going to lead us into Mega Man X. We got 3 minutes left before we have to take a break. So I want to ask for what you think of this so far.
Very confusing, but I am interested.
The stories of the Mega Man games get more complex as the years go on. Like I said, it was the 80s. It was like one of the classic NES video games alongside Mario and whatnot. So it started off extremely simple. And it started off very family friendly and wholesome. Like, here's a promotional image for Mega Man 2, which shows Mega Man with the Robot Masters of the first two games. And
Oh, okay.
it's very cute, very sweet and wholesome. Because, like, you know, for better or worse, they are pretty much his siblings. Oh, there's also a Metal in the top left, that little creature that has a hard hat. Um, he's a basic enemy that's been around ever since Mega Man 1, and he's sort of a mascot. Um, he's like, he's been called Metal, Metar, whatever, but he's in almost every single Mega Man game.
Okay.
But as I said, as the years go on and they make more and more editions and video games develop around the Mega Man franchise, the Mega Man franchise itself winds up evolving into something I don't want to say just darker, but it's more robust all around. It has darker entries. It has a lot of amazing stuff. I mean, these days there's a couple of different TV shows, a couple of animes like Mega Man NT Warrior or Mega Man Star Force. There's the old Ruby, what is it, Ruby Spears or something cartoon. It was a fully American cartoon that had that theme song I referenced earlier, the fucking Super Fighting Robot Mega Man. It was pretty catchy. I'm not gonna lie. Um, but it has become a staple for the. I mean, Mega Man's been in a lot of shit. He's crossed over with both Marvel and Sonic the Hedgehog, just to name a
He
couple.
did a crossover with Marvel?
Oh yeah, I can talk about that after our break. We're less than a minute, but
All right.
yeah, when we get back, I'll talk a little bit about Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite as well as Mega Man X.
All right.
Now we just wait this out.
This time we finished early, then right on time.
Yeah. Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I sure can. All right, we're back. Yeah, so in the Archie comics, there's actually a crossover where in the Sonic the Hedgehog universe, Dr. Eggman collected all the Chaos Emeralds, tried to rewrite reality, and he wound up accidentally merging their universe with the original Mega Man universe. So uh, that was interesting. You had a team up between Dr. Wily and Dr. Eggman for that. But in the different video game Marvel versus Capcom Infinite, and I say different because Marvel versus Capcom's 2 and 3 especially are both very beloved games. So people were less than happy about how this one turned out, but it's got a cool story. Um, Ultron winds up teaming up with a villain from Mega Man X named Sigma, and they like fuse and they have the Infinity Stones, and it's extremely threatening.
That
Um,
sounds badass.
it is because Ultron already is like Thanos level threat for the Avengers on his own. Sigma will not fucking die and is a serious threat for Mega Man X. And then you combine them and then also give them the Infinity Gauntlet. And it makes sense why it took like 30 different characters from both universes to like, including Thanos, by the way. Uh, but yeah, the gameplay and whatnot of that story left a lot to be desired. So unfortunately, it's not regarded as a beloved entry. But hey, speaking of Sigma, let's start talking about Mega Man X. Um, so X wound up becoming the basis for what would be called Reploids. These were not like the robots of the past. They are now all truly sentient. Um, but ones that go rogue are labeled as Mavericks.
Mhm.
So an important distinction is that Maverick can mean a few different things. In some games, Maverick just means a robot who is doing crime, like, you know, assaulting people and blowing shit up and hurting people, someone who has chosen to be evil. Sometimes they refer to a Maverick virus. So they're talking about people that have been infected by this virus against their will and turned evil. And hell, how about a little bit of government commentary in there? Sometimes they label Reploids as Mavericks just because they're political dissenters against the people in power. Because it's,
Seriously?
yeah, they make a commentary on how they label people criminals just because they're like against the government.
Oh, that's great.
That's what I mean when I'm like, Mega Man starts getting a lot more robust in its storytelling. It starts having shit to say. Um, but as far as the origin of that Maverick virus, so like how Dr. Light made Mega Man X, Dr. Wily wanted to leave something behind for the future. Up until now, Bass had basically been his greatest creation. Well, he pretty much told Bass right to his face, dog, I am making something that is going to make you look like a fucking pussy. Like this thing, ah, this thing's going to be rad and it's going to be way more evil than you. Like, you fucking suck, Bass. Get out of here. And what he made was a robot or a Reploid named Zero. And he did not get a chance to activate Zero before he died. Question mark. There is some ambiguity as to whether or not Wily actually died. Um, because there is a theory that like there was something implanted in Zero, some kind of virus Um, it is what would later become the Maverick virus, but there was some kind of virus in there that may actually be Wiley's uploaded consciousness.
Oh,
So Wiley might have become the Maverick virus. Um, but after X was awakened and they made Reploid Society and Mavericks started becoming a problem, they made a group called the Maverick Hunters. And their leader was Sigma. He's a big, buff, bald Reploid who, was a fucking fighter for truth and justice and the American way and all that shit, right? Um, and he him and a group of other Maverick hunters wound up investigating an old defunct Wiley base. They found the suspended Zero and accidentally activated him. And when he woke up, he was fucking crazy and tried killing them all. And Sigma wound up being able to just barely beat him. And he had like a crystal on his forehead, Zero did, and Sigma shattered it. And when he shattered that crystal, it released the virus within Zero. So I it's sort of confusing and ambiguous as to whether so okay, it seems like that virus leaving Zero um lets him start being good, but apparently some sources say that there was just a containment unit for the virus. Zero was made to be evil, but what the Maverick virus does is it reverses your good or evil tendencies. So what happened is that Zero actually also got infected with the virus, but because he was already evil, it made him good.
huh.
Um,
That-
what were you saying?
Nothing. Sorry.
Yeah, uh, I don't know which one I believe or like more, but either way, he's a good guy now. And Sigma also got infected by the virus, and he became evil. And uh, actually, similar to the idea that maybe Wiley's consciousness became this virus, Sigma's consciousness wound up merging with the virus, and it started going from the Maverick virus to being known as the Sigma virus. He is now a sentient virus. Like, he's a computer virus. Um, and that's why he can't die. Every time you murder him, he just, you know, fucks off somewhere and makes a new body. Um, which is why he wound up getting teamed up with Ultron because they're basically the same guy. Like, they both do that. Every time you kill Ultron, his AI persists and he just makes a new robot body somewhere else.
Mm.
So they literally merged their bodies together to become Ultron Sigma in that game, which is a dope premise. Um, but throughout the games, X and Zero work together because Zero winds up becoming the new leader of the Maverick Hunters. And um, I should also point out, I don't know if I made it clear, X is not the original Mega Man. He is a different robot. Like, he is designed to look and act very similar, but he's also meant to be more grown up. Like, I should actually, at the very least, show you all the different Mega Men. So, as soon as it wants to. Okay, so this is X.
Okay.
Um,
Literally just looks like a grown-up version of Mega Man.
yeah, exactly. It's very much what he is meant to encapsulate. And then this is Zero. So they're partners. And as you can see, Zero takes a lot of inspiration from Proto Man, even with the fact that his long blonde hair looks very similar to that yellow scarf.
I like his design, honestly.
He is a fan favorite. Everyone loves Zero. um, and in the first Mega Man X game, he is the personal parallel character of the story in that you Aaron Hansen, Ego Raptor, actually did a great video about this sequelitis, Mega Man X. You should check it out after this. But the story uses video game mechanics to throw you for a swerve to not know whether or not a boss in the first level is scripted or not. You don't know if you're dealing damage to him because you can't see his health bar, which you've gotten used to seeing because of the Mega Man Classic games. So you fight him like normal because you don't know if it's scripted or not. He winds up beating you, and then Zero rushes in and basically one-shots the dude and sends him running. So you're like, Zero is so much stronger and cooler. I want to be like him. So over the course of the game, you get upgrades and you make X stronger until eventually he is considered Zero's equal, or perhaps even better. So it's a very shonen kind of storyline, and I really enjoy it. And there, like, a lot of shit happens, right? A lot of shit happens in the Mega Man X franchise that I don't want to get into. Like, there's a Reploid army at one point where they go from just wanting to be equal citizens to essentially making a fascist brigade.
Oh God.
Yeah, it's not great. There's like a floating city that crashes into the earth. I'm more and more that I talk about this story, the more I realize that Marvel seems to be inspired by Mega Man. Because that's basically Sokovia. But okay, so for whatever reason, at some point, they developed this technology that okay, so I guess the cyber world is like not just existent within computers, but it is like an alternate plane of existence that computers are able to tap into. And with the development of like true consciousness of AI and whatnot in Reploids, that gives way to a new phenomenon called cyber elves. They're essentially clusters of code and soul that are the lingering remains. They're the ghosts of Reploids. And X winds up becoming a cyber elf. Zero winds up being put in hibernation. And like 100 years or something passes, and we get Mega Man Zero. So Zero winds up getting a new body, and he winds up becoming the main character, and that's good enough to call him a Mega Man, even though his name is not Mega Man. But this is Zero's new body. This is Mega Man Zero in the future.
Ooh. I think I
Yeah,
like that even better.
it's a very different kind of aesthetic to the design, but it matches better with the game around him.
Hmm.
And it's very cool. Like, that's a lot more of a dystopian future. Like, there's a lot more wasteland. I think there's like a single viable human city, but it's ruled by an evil copy of X. Uh, so that's kind of weird, but you know. Uh, but again, the real X is a cyber elf, and cyber elves have the ability to essentially use up their remaining existence, properly die, but in that they get one shot at like some kind of really cool power. And a cyber elf actually reactivated Zero and brought him back to life by doing that. So that was cool. I don't have a lot to say on the Zero franchise. Um, I will say even further in the future, we get Mega Man ZX and ZX Advent. Um, So in this, you play as a delivery person. Uh, if you choose to play as a boy, you play as this kid Vent. Um, if you choose to play as a girl, you get this girl Ale. But they're essentially the same person. Um,
Hmm.
and what happens is they're delivering something called a biometal. These biometals are kind of like little floating tiki heads that are meant to emulate legendary warriors of the past. So they're transporting Model X, and their boss Jiro is, I think, also transporting Model Z. So Model X is based off of Mega Man X. Model Z is based off of Zero, um, and because of a catastrophe, not a catastrophe, like a enemy robot attacking them, they wind up having to merge. So they become Mega Man Model X and Z. But then pretty early in the story, Jiro winds up dying, and in his dying moments, he gives Model Z to either Vent or Ale, and they become Mega Man Model ZX. Um, they mostly just look like Zero, but they also have the copy ability of Mega Man X. So um, he winds up being able to be like Model HX and Model PX and all sorts of other stuff throughout the game. And then in Mega Man ZX Advent, depending on whether you play as a boy or a girl, now these two are not actually the same character. They are very different. If you play as a boy, you play as a Reploid named Gray, who was essentially suspended in a big tube, and he winds up having to fight his way out. He doesn't know what's going on. His past is a mystery. And if you play as a girl, you play as a girl named Ash, who is basically like a pirate. Like, I think the first thing you do as Ash is you're robbing a train, a train car, um, and you're like escaping on the top of the train. Um, but either way, they wind up becoming Mega Men as well. I think they get Model A, which is based on a character from Mega Man X named Axel, who, similar to the copy system, he had an ability called A-Trans, which allows you to just fully transform into um, another robot or another Reploid. So uh, that's the reasoning why you got another person that's default form is like Model ZX or whatever, because they're
Hmm.
using A-Trans to essentially just become another Model ZX.
Okay.
Um, but as things get more and more dystopian in this timeline, eventually it culminates with most of the world being flooded, a lot of civilization being lost, and eventually you get what's called Mega Man Legends. And in that, you play as a Mega Man of the future. I gotta remember what his name is. Hang on. Uh, I should also say in Japan, it's called Rockman Dash, which stands for Dig Outers Adventure Stories in the Halcyon Days. Um, the Halcyon Days are what they refer to as, the previous games, the time before civilization got fucking ruined. A dig outer is a person who explores ruins. So you are being a. Okay, his name is Mega Man Volnut. That's right. Um, and I don't know. There's some shit there. Like he was made to be a fucking whatever. I really don't care. I don't like Legends too much, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. Um, but because I am showing you all the different Mega Men, this is Mega Man Volnut. I guess I did forget to show you Mega Man Model CX, so hang on. As soon as the picture wants to load. Holy fuck, why does it take so long?
Man, this would have been a great time for an ad break if we weren't doing this on Zoom.
Yeah, but you know, whatever. All right, there you go. There's Model ZX. Um,
Ooh,
and then I guess Model A. Uh, yeah, but I want. Do I got to go to gray and ash? Okay. This is gray as Mega Man Model A.
I like the guns, honestly.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I guess just for posterity, I'll also show you what Ash looks like because Vent and Ale look exactly the same as Model ZX. It covers them in a way that they're very androgynous looking. You can't tell if they're a boy or a girl. Um, but this is Ash as Model A. So she
I
looks
like
different
that.
from Gray. I do love Ash. She's a cutie. Um, outside of her armor. So at this point, we have Robot Master Mega Man, Mega Man X, Mega Man Zero, Mega Man Volnut, Mega Man ZX, and Mega Man A. Well, two different Mega Man A's. So that's one, two, three, four, five, six, seven different Mega Man so far. Um, but there are two more. Uh, now we talk about my favorite, the alternate timeline. Um, hang on, let me see how much time we got. I do not know how much time we got. So I'm going to assume that I can at least get out the basics of Battle Network and Star Force. All right. In the alternate timeline where Dr. Light got laid, um, he was now known as Dr. Hikari. He had a son who worked for a government organization called Scilab, and a grandson, you know, the son of the son, who would come to be known as Lan Hikari. Now, Lan had a twin brother, I believe, named Net. Do you get it? They're Lan and Net.
Yeah, I got you.
Um, Net had some sort of cellular degeneration disease that was terminal, and he wound up dying very young, like 4 or 5 years old. Um, but in his dying days, um, the dad wound up figuring out how to encode Net's consciousness as computer data. And that was his son. He kept very careful protection of that data for the next like 10 or so years. And eventually, so at this point, the world largely relies on what is known as net navies. The original Dr. Light, Dr. Hikari, wound up creating, like I said, computer programs instead of robots. And he made digital assistants. The internet in the world of Mega Man Battle Network is very different to ours in that programs are miniature AIs, these net navies. And when things like, say, you want to send an email to a friend, what happens is that your net navi travels through the internet, which is like a space for them to explore and live in, finds your friend's net navi, is like, hey, Jake wants to meet Dexter for drinks later. Ask him what time would be good. And then his net navi would be like, hey, Jake wants to meet you for drinks. What time is good? And they converse like that.
Oh, okay.
Um, and in those games, you predominantly play as well. I mean, you have real world segments where you play as Lan, but you wind up predominantly playing as his net navi. Up until a certain birthday of Lan's, I think he's like his 11th birthday or something. Lan had been using a generic net navi, one that you get like when you first buy a PET, a personal terminal.
Hmm.
He didn't have a special custom net navi, which basically meant he was a fucking loser and nobody liked him. It's not that's not true. I'm using hyperbole. He has a friend group. but it is seen as really lame to have a generic net navi. Um, so one day his dad's like, "Hey, son, I have a net navi for you. His name is Megaman.exe." Um, I should say that in this alternate timeline, characters like Roll and Gutsman and Fireman and all of them still exist, like the robot masters of the alternate timeline, except now they're Fireman.exe, Roll.exe, stuff like that. So that's how you differentiate the characters. Yeah, the dad turned his dead son's consciousness into the base of a code for a new NetNavi.
God damn.
And I think Lan doesn't discover that until like the end of Mega Man Battle Network 2. And it's kind of like, what the fuck? But they're both good boys, and they wind up being able to have that bring them close together. Like, oh, we're not just an operator and a Navi, we're brothers. And at first, Lan and everyone is kind of like, dude, what the fuck? But Mega Man's like, hey, man, to be fair, if he didn't do that, I would just be dead, right? Like, he gave me a second chance at life, and I'm grateful for that. And it would wind up shaking out really well because in the end of that series, Mega Man Battle Network 6, they introduced a technology like replica dolls or something. What happens is they're like blank dolls, and you upload a Navi into one of them, and the doll morphs to look like that Navi, and they essentially have a robot body. And you wind up seeing this girl, this mysterious girl throughout the game named Iris. And you find out by the end that she is actually just a Navi. And so in like the epilogue of the Mega Man Battle Network series, you find out that Mega Man has started using one of those dolls, and he just lives life as Net again.
Damn.
It's really cool. It's really sweet. I love it. I should also say that Dr. Wily is the leader of a global terrorist organization in this timeline called World 3. Now, World 3 is how you pronounce it, but it's always spelled out WWW. Like, they literally never write out World 3. And in fact, if I had not seen the anime to know that they're called World 3, I would have said, yeah, they're an organization called WWW, because that's all they fucking say in the games.
I would have like called them World Wide Web or some shit if I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, I think like maybe once in like Mega Man Battle Network 1, they might say World 3. But I started playing with Mega Man Battle Network 3, blue version. And they only said WWW, so that's all I knew. But yeah, it's the same shit, right? Global domination and being a bastard. But Wily looks way more intimidating in the Battle Network games. Like, let me show you. Okay, I guess you're just not gonna fucking. That's cool. Bitch ass fucking. Why can I not find just the original Dr. Wily? What the fuck? Hey, here we go. Okay. So there's a few different looks for Wily, but this is his like classic look from the early games. This is a more updated thing from Mega Man 11, but that's what he looks like, right?
Okay. Man looks like just a generic scientist.
He is based on Albert Einstein, which is why his name is Albert.
Oh, okay.
And then I think Thomas Light is based off of Thomas Jefferson, because Light.
Yeah.
This is Wily from Battle Network.
Holy hell.
Yeah, way more intimidating. He's got a cyber eye and everything.
Oh, for sure.
The Battle Network series has some of the best fucking artwork of any video game franchise. Fucking fight me. Their art style is so cool. Um, uh, okay, we got 10 minutes. I'll see if I can quickly mention Star Force as well. So in the same timeline, in further in the future, there is now a network called the Brother Band Network. There are 3 satellites that act as administrators for the Brother Band system: Pegasus, Leo, and Dragon. And these 3 satellites orbiting Earth, let's see, there's a boy named Geostellar, and his father, Kelvin, works for, they're called like Nasada or something. I can't remember if that's the name of the not NASA from Star Force or if it's from Power Rangers in Space, but either way, Kelvin winds up going missing when he's conducting an experiments with electromagnetic bodies in this like orbital satellite station above Earth. His own invention, the visualizer, which is a set of glasses which allows him to visually perceive electromagnetic waves, winds up getting passed down to Geo. And Geo becomes very depressed. He doesn't go to school for a couple of years. He doesn't have any friends. He is just real bitter and upset, because his fucking dad's dead. And one day, while wearing the visualizer and just looking up at the night sky, he sees what looks like lights fighting, and then one crashes to the ground in front of him, and he sees an alien. So to start, this is Geo.
Okay.
And this is the alien he sees. His name is Omegasis, and he is a being made up of electromagnetic energy.
I don't like that the electricity is green, but
Really?
yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
Oh,
I'm
well,
used to
what were you saying?
I was gonna say I'm used to like when it's shown stuff like that to it being blue.
Well, it should be said that it's not really like electricity. Like it's part of his body. Like it, he is part. He's not necessarily electricity because electricity isn't the full breadth of the electromagnetic spectrum. EM waves include like anything from microwaves to radio waves to color.
Oh, okay.
So he is an energy being, is what it's really about. But there are other EM beings, and what's happening is that they're essentially possessing humans because these EM beings, they're like ghosts. They can't interact with the physical world, but they because there's this entire EM AI system all over the world, they can fuck with electronics, and everybody now wears what's called a trancer on their arms, which it's essentially their version of a cell phone or the PET from Mega Man Battle Network. But you form brothers with somebody with the brother band, and use trancers to do it, and it's basically like adding a friend on Facebook or whatever, except the idea of brothers is that you're actually supposed to be like willing to be close with someone. So on your trancer, you'll have like a secret that you don't tell people, but you will share with your brothers. So when you become brothers with someone, they're able to see your secret. So it really incentivizes like make sure like you actually become brothers with someone that you want to open up to. But what winds up happening is that beings like Taurus infect a guy named Bud, to become the being Taurus Fire, who can be either physical or EM. They can shift between the two worlds and attack people and whatnot. And so what happens is that Omegasis does not forcibly possess Geo, but he's like, look, there are these beings from planet FM that are hunting me. They will possess other people in your world to get me. So you need to let me merge with you. And they do merge consensually. And they become Star Force Mega Man. And as you can see, Omegasis's head becomes the new Mega Buster. He like spits out energy blast. This is one of my favorite designs. I love Mega Man Star Force. What's really cool is that Battle Network had this like side view, almost turn-based action kind of thing where you would pause the action, pick battle chips that give you different abilities, resume the action, and then for like 8 seconds you fight, and then you get to pause again. And this follows a similar system, except it uses the Nintendo DS. So it's a behind the back view where your side of the battlefield is the bottom screen and you're looking forward, and the top screen acts as the enemy's side of the field. It's very cool. They're genuinely great games. There's only 3 of them, unless you count the crossover that they did between Battle Network and Star Force. But that was only in Japan, and that sucks because I wanted to play it. The long and short of Omegasis's deal is you eventually find out he's not from planet FM. He's from planet AM, which they tried to commit a genocide on. You find out that the satellites are run by EM beings who they wind up granting power to Star Force Mega Man. There's other games where he gets power from ancient tribes. Like, it's really cool. I don't have a lot more time left. So I just want to say that Battle Network and Star Force are some of my favorite fucking video games. You should check them out.
I will definitely have to look at them, check them out and whatnot.
All right, we got 2.5 minutes. So, are you interested? Do you think that the Mega Man stuff seems cool?
Honestly, I am interested.
It's really good. I'm happy I was able to do this.
And now that I have a PC, I might go and download a few of them.
Yeah, emulate at least the Star Force games with a Nintendo DS emulator, because there's only 3 of them, so it's a little bit more breezy. And the first Mega Man Battle Network game is a little bit hard to get into because they wound up adding really cool gameplay elements like Mega Man merging with a virus beast in Mega Man Battle Network 6, but it's not available in 1, so it's much more cookie cutter gameplay in the first one, but at least do Star Force. Okay, everyone, thank you for listening. You can support me on Anchor. You can follow me at Cape Corner on Twitter. My personal thing is at BeyondBlue13. You can follow Jay on Facebook at Shitposter of America. Check out the Hall of Pods podcast network. Some really cool guys over there. I think that's it, right?
I think so.
Okay. Wow, I did that much faster than I was expecting to. But yes, everybody, thank you. Stay strong, stay true to yourselves, and remember, we can all be heroes.